Okay, so let's have a look at this particular triangle here. So I have the hypotenuse here, which is z. I don't have a number for that particular side. All I know is that it's my hypotenuse because it's opposite my right angle. Here I've got my degrees, which is 9, and on this particular side it's 126 millimeters. So I need to try and firstly figure out what side this is. Is it opposite or adjacent? So I need to look at where my angle is, and because this is next to that, it must be my adjacent side. So next step, I need to figure out whether I'm using sine, cos, or tan. So I need to find one that involves h and also involves a. So here's a h but no a, so it can't be sine. Here's an a and a h, so it must be cos. So cos is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So now I just want to fill in the blanks. So instead of my theta, I know that degrees are actually equal to 9. My adjacent side is equal to 126, and my hypotenuse is equal to z. Now this question is different to the previous ones that we did because here the number is on the top, not on the bottom. So I can't just move the number to the front like I did before. Now what I want to do is I want to swap them. That's what I do when my letter is on the bottom. I take this and I move it here, and I take that and I move it there. So I want to do a swap. So the x is going to go here where the cos 9 is, and the cos 9 is going to go down here. And again, there is a mathematical reason for this that relates back to equations, but the easiest, fastest thing to do is if you get a letter on the bottom, just swap it with here. Swap these two, they go in different spots. So then I'll get z in that spot, and then here on the bottom of my fraction becomes cos 9. So see how my z was on the bottom of the fraction, but now it's here, and my cos 9 was in front, and now it's on the bottom. So I get my handy dandy calculator out, and what I want to do is I type this into here. So 126, because this is an El Cheapo Kmart calculator, 10 bucks by the way. It has one of these old school fraction keys where that little line equals the fraction. So I type 126 over, and then I'm going to put it in brackets just because sometimes calculators do some weird stuff if you don't put brackets in. So 126 over cos 9, and I probably didn't have to put those brackets in, but you know, better safe than sorry. So now that's what z is equal to. So z is equal to 127.5706 yada yada yada. So z, if I round it to 2 decimal places, count out 1, 2, put a dotted line. 0 doesn't round at all, so 127.57, and this is in millimeters. So that's how big this hypotenuse is. So don't forget, if your letter's on the bottom, swap them. If your number's on the bottom, move it to the front. But let's do one more of these. So here I have another triangle, and I want to be able to calculate the length of this unknown side here, which has been called k. Now this particular triangle has no information on the hypotenuse, so it's going to be using the opposite and the adjacent sides. So this one here is directly opposite the 68, so that's my opposite side, and this k here is next to the 68, so that's my adjacent. So I need to figure out which of these three ratios am I going to be using. Not sine because it has a h, not cos because it's got a h, so I'm going to be using tan. So tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So now I want to fill in the blanks. So instead of writing theta, I'm going to put the value of the angle, which is 68. Then I'm going to put the value of my opposite side, which is 76. And the value of my adjacent side, which is k. Now here, what do I do when I have a k on the bottom? What do I do when my letter is on the bottom and not a number? I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to switch them. So my k goes here, and my tan 68 goes here. So k I'm going to move to the front. That leaves my fraction as 76 over tan 68. get out my trusty. And here I'm going to write 76 over, let's try it without any brackets and see if it works, tan 68. What do you know? It works. So k is equal to 30.7059 yada yada yada. Count it out to 2 decimal places. 1, 2, put a dotted line. 5. Does 5 round up or down? Oh, hold on. Sorry, you can't see. My bad. Sorry. So k is equal to 30.7059 yada yada yada. I've put my dotted line after my 2 decimal places and 5 rounds up. So that means that k is equal to 30.71. So that's how big my k is, and it's in meters. So let me just show you why it is that I do that little magic trick of swapping spots. So let's use this same question as our example. So I've got tan 68 is equal to 76 over k. Now, if this were an equation and I wanted to get k on its own, I'd need to do the opposite of 76 divided by k, which is multiplying by k. Multiply both sides by k. So now I've got k times tan 68 is equal to 76. Then I want to get k on its own. So what's the opposite of tan 68? The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So this will be divided by tan 68. Divide both sides by tan 68. They cancel each other out, and that just leaves k is equal to 76 over tan 68. And now you'll notice, looking back, if I can fit both parts in the screen. There we go. Okay. So you'll notice that doing it the long way, I get the same as if I just do the swapping spots. So it's totally up to you. If you prefer doing it the long equations way, fantastic. Or you can just do the fast trick of if the letters on the bottom, they swap spots. Quick recap of the important things to know. If your letters on the bottom, they're going to swap spots. And if your number's on the bottom, you bring your number to the front. So here, letters on the bottom, these two things swap spots, and my number's on the bottom, I move it to the front. So this top question up here will end up looking like b is equal to 14 over, I'm moving my 29 to the front, so that'll look like 29 times cos 67 is equal to r. I can just type this gibberish into a calculator and get my answer. Happy days. So to know if your number is on the bottom, move it to the front. If your letter is on the bottom, they need to swap spots, these two things here.